I have been using this for a while now, so I figured I would share some thoughts. This is a small smart projector that is really meant for people who want an easy way to throw a big picture on a wall in a bedroom, a dorm, a small apartment, or for an outdoor movie night after the sun goes down. If you are looking for something to replace a television in a bright living room in the middle of the day, that has not been my experience with it. But if your normal routine is nighttime shows, weekend movies, sports with the lights low, or a projector you can move from room to room, this fits that kind of life pretty well. What made me pay attention to this one is how normal it feels to use for streaming. With a lot of budget projectors I have tested, you spend more time fighting with apps than watching anything. Here I plugged it in, paired the remote, connected to Wi-Fi, signed into Netflix, and I was watching something way faster than I expected. I did not need to plug in a separate streaming stick just to get going. Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube, and Disney all opened as regular apps, and the layout felt familiar enough that I was not hunting through weird menus. Physically, it is compact and easy to pick up and move. I have carried it from my office to the bedroom, then out to the living room, and it never felt like a project to relocate it. The finish is a matte black that looks simple and does not draw attention. It also does not feel like it is trying to look fancy. It just looks clean. The lens is slightly recessed, which I ended up appreciating because I tend to set projectors down on shelves and slide them around a bit. That little bit of protection helps. For connections, it has what I actually use. There is a high-definition multimedia interface port for a console or a laptop, a universal serial bus port for files, a headphone jack, and the power connection. Everything is laid out in a way that kept my cables from turning into a messy knot. There is also a standard mount point underneath, so I was able to put it on a tripod without improvising. If you want to mount it, that is realistic. If you want it on a bookshelf, the angle adjustment is quick enough that you can get it aimed without stacking books under it. The remote has been fine. It is light, it responds quickly, and it has the buttons I needed for normal streaming use. I did not have to do that thing where you are digging through settings just to do basic navigation. It feels like a simple television-style remote, which is what I want in this situation. Daily use is where I think this projector either works for you or it does not. The feature I ended up using the most is electric focus. On cheaper units, you are usually turning a little dial and leaning in and out until it looks sharp, and then you bump the projector and you do it again. Here, I just tap the focus controls and the image snapped into place. When I am moving it between rooms, that matters because it takes less effort to get a watchable picture. Keystone correction is also here, and it helped me when I could not place the projector perfectly centered. I will say it the practical way. Keystone is useful, but it is still a software correction. When you push it too hard, you can tell the image is being digitally adjusted. So I still try to position the projector as straight as possible, then use Keystone just for small fixes. That gives me the cleanest looking picture. In my setup, I spent most of my time around an image size that felt like a big television replacement, somewhere in the 80 to 100 inch range. In a dark room, it looks clean and sharp enough that I stopped thinking about it and just watched. When I pushed it larger, the edges got a little softer, which is normal for this kind of projector. It still looked fine for casual viewing. But if you are the kind of person who is picky about corner-to-corner sharpness on a huge screen, you are going to notice the limits sooner. It is a native 1080p projector, and it will play 4K content, but you are still looking at a 1080p image. In real life, that just meant I could press play on higher resolution files without the projector refusing to play them, and I did not have to think about it. I would not buy this expecting true 4K detail, but for streaming and regular movies, 1080p is the level where it still looks nicely detailed at normal viewing distances. Brightness is the part I always test in the most annoying real-life ways. With the lights off, it is enjoyable. With curtains drawn and one small lamp on, I could still watch, but the image definitely loses some punch. In daylight, with bright windows, it washes out fast. So my honest take is that it works best at night, or in a room where you can control light. If your normal viewing time is afternoon with sunlight pouring in, you will probably end up frustrated unless you use blackout curtains. Color looked believable out of the box. Skin tones did not look wildly off, and sports fields looked natural enough. Contrast is where you see the budget reality. Dark scenes do not get truly black. They lean more gray, especially if there is any ambient light in the room. I played with the picture settings to pull a little more detail out of shadows, and it helped a bit, but it is not going to turn into a deep black, high-contrast projector. For me, it was fine for shows, sports, and most movies. In very dark movies, I noticed it more. On the smart side, the experience has been mostly smooth. Wi-Fi was stable for me, and once I was signed into my apps, streaming was reliable. I did have a random freeze once when switching apps, and it cleared after I closed the app and opened it again. It was not a constant issue, but it did happen. I would rather mention it than pretend everything is perfect. Screen mirroring worked from my phone and my laptop. There is the usual slight delay you get with mirroring. It is fine for videos, photos, and slides. It is not something I would use for fast reaction gaming. If you want to play something competitive, I would not rely on wireless mirroring for that. Audio is okay, and that is the most honest way to put it. The built-in speakers are clear enough for YouTube, casual shows, and background listening at moderate volume. When I watched an action movie, or anything where dialogue and music are competing, I preferred using an external speaker. I paired a Bluetooth speaker and it connected quickly. Lip sync was fine for me in the shows and movies I watched. That one change made it feel a lot more comfortable to watch for long sessions. If you already own a soundbar or a portable speaker, I would plan to use it. Fan noise is audible. It is a steady sound, not a high-pitched whine, but in quiet scenes you can hear it. When I used external audio, I stopped paying attention to the fan. If you are sitting very close to the projector in a quiet room, you will notice it more. Heat was not a problem in my use. After long viewing sessions it got warm, but never in a way that worried me. So overall, I have a pretty clear idea of who this is for. If you want something that is easy to set up, easy to focus, and easy to stream from without extra devices, it has been dependable for me. I can move it, point it at a wall, do a quick focus adjustment, and be watching a show without turning it into a whole project. The biggest limitations are brightness in daylight, the average built-in speakers, and the fact that Keystone is helpful but not magic, so placement still matters. If your room is mostly a nighttime viewing space and you can pair a Bluetooth speaker, it is a simple, enjoyable setup that I actually used a lot. If you need a bright living room projector, or you care a lot about deep blacks and perfect sharpness at very large screen sizes, this will feel like a compromise. You can view detailed information about the HAPPRUN H11 in the comments section. Thank you for watching.